Hello friends, this is Jim with Science Talk. In this video, I wanted to discuss with you one of the ramifications of climate change. Climate refugees may reach many millions by 2050. Climate refugees. These are people that are fleeing climate change's impacts by moving to new homes. May number over 140 million by 2050, the World Bank reports. The number of climate refugees, people migrating to escape the effects of the warming climate, could reach many millions in barely 30 years from now, the World Bank says. The total, the 140 million, is a conservative one. It is based on just 3 regions of the developing world and considers only people migrating within their own countries, not those seeking a new life elsewhere or abroad. A World Bank group report says that the worsening impacts of climate change in sub-Saharan Africa, South Asia, and Latin America could mean that by 2050, more than 140 million people had moved within their own country's borders, creating a human crisis and threatening development. Wake-up call. That's what this is. The bank's researchers say their report is the first and most comprehensive study of its kind to focus on the link between slow onset climate change impacts, internal migration patterns, and development in 3 developing regions. Now, one region that the study did not look at and needs to be considered is the Middle East. There's computer models are indicating that by 2050-2060, the region could become totally uninhabitable for humans. That it will be so hot there that humans will not be able to survive. You know, they're talking temperatures in excess of 140 degrees Fahrenheit. Average temperature. So, what's going to happen to the people in those regions? They're going to be forced to leave as well. So that goes back to the point where the total is a conservative one here, because they're not even including the folks that will be impacted from climate change in the Middle East. So how we say that, you know, climate refugees are people migrating to escape the effects of the warming climate. Okay, so this report defines climate migrants as people forced to move from parts of their countries where life is increasingly unsustainable because of worsening problems like water scarcity, crop failure, sea level rise, which can lead to crop failures because you have the infusion of brine water that will kill the plants, storm surges, and so forth. They would be additional to the millions of people already moving within their countries for economic, social, political, or other reasons. The World Bank CEO, Kristalina Georgieva, says the report is a wake-up call to countries and development institutions. We have a small window now before the effects of climate change deepen. Steps cities take to cope with the upward trend of arrivals from rural areas and to improve opportunities for education, training, and jobs will pay long-term dividends. There are some scientists who are of the opinion that we may have already exceeded past the tipping point and that what has been set in motion will have its own inertia and continue to worsen. No matter, even if we were to, say, totally cut carbon emissions today. The research team was headed by World Bank lead environmental specialist Kanta Kumari Rigau and included colleagues from the Center for International Earth Science Information Network at Columbia University, the CUNY, that's City University of New York, Institute for Demographic Research, and the Potsdam Institute for Climate Impact Research located in Germany. Part of their methodology. They looked at 3 potential climate and development scenarios, comparing the most pessimistic, high greenhouse gas emissions and unequal development paths, with climate-friendly and more inclusive development scenarios in which climate and national development action increases in line with the challenges. Across each scenario, they applied demographic, socioeconomic, and climate impact data at a 14 square kilometer grid cell level to model probable shifts in populations within countries. This approach identified major hotspots of climate in and out migration, areas in which people expect to move, and urban, peri-urban, and rural areas to which they will try to move. Without the right planning and support, people migrating from rural areas into cities could be facing new and even more dangerous risks, said Dr. Regal. We could see increased tensions and conflicts as a result of pressure on reducing or scarce resources. That does not necessarily have to be the future. While internal climate migration is becoming a reality, it won't be a crisis if people plan for it now, Professor Regal continues. There are other scientists who will state or opine that they put forth an argument that migration is a successful way of adapting to climate change, and that all governments should legalize and regulate temporary climate migration, both within and between countries. Well, now the key word there is temporary. Exactly how long a period is temporary? 6 months, a year, 2 years, 10 years? What's temporary? That needs to be defined. But also, if you now move more people into a given area, increase the density of the population, and there is a certain amount of resources available, immense pressure is placed on those resources. Such pressure and how to allocate those can lead to tensions. And sometimes, given the nature of human behavior, there can be violent outbreaks. So, the notion that this is a successful way of adapting to climate change may be probably an optimistic one. It is not a view that I would share in. Alex Randall, coordinator of the UK-based Climate and Migration Coalition, writes, governments should be harnessing rather than preventing the use of migration as a climate adaptation strategy. So he is one of those that falls on the spectrum of migration being a successful way of adapting. But anyway, because of what's being done to what we are doing to the planet, warming things up, we're changing the distribution of the flora and fauna. We're increasing sea levels. There are more intense storms, hotter conditions. This is putting pressure on people, and people are going to respond, and they're going to respond by leaving areas where life is extremely difficult or has become uninhabitable. So then you're going to change the demographics, you're going to increase the population density into smaller and smaller areas, putting a lot of pressure. There's a concept in ecology called the carrying capacity, which is defined as the number of individuals of a species that an ecosystem can support based on available resources. Add more people into an existing area, more people for the same amount of resources, you're going to do what? The carrying capacity is going to drop. It will not be able to support an additional influx of people. The result will be, as I alluded to earlier, perhaps violent, people dying. As it is, people will probably start dying. So, the old saying, chickens the chickens coming home to roost, whatever. Yeah, this is happening now. Which is now starting to affect people. It's not just something, oh, okay, so what, it's a little warmer here. It's now affecting humanity. It's affecting, how civilization will behave, what will happen to civilization in the coming decades. So climate change is really an issue of affecting humans. Planet Earth is going to be fine. Planet Earth, no matter what insults humans do to planet Earth will keep orbiting the sun for another 5 billion years or so until the sun basically expands into a red giant and so on. But Earth will be fine. After humans are long gone, Earth will continue. All our structures will eventually, the materials will be returned to the Earth. Organisms will evolve and so on and so forth. Earth will be fine. It's what we're doing to ourselves that's critical. And now we're seeing that we are affecting each other. So, I hope you like this video. If you do, please share this video. Please go to my Patreon page, patreon.com/Science Talk with Jim Massa. Become a patron. If you already are a patron, thank you for your support. Please share, please subscribe, tell others of the work I do. By word of mouth, my channel will grow, and this important, critical information can be disseminated to more and more people. Thank you for your time.